Hi everyone. Right, so today I thought I'm going to have a nice chilled out day in the garden. It's lovely and sunny, a little bit nippy, but we'll soon warm up. So I'm going to be working in this new bit of the garden. I'll take the camera off the tripod. I'll give you a quick walk through. I'll explain what the area has been in the past for those of you who are just visiting the garden for the first time. Right, so it's taken me 15 years to get the garden to the state it's at now. When we moved in, the big trees were here, but the rest of the garden was laid to low. There wasn't a single plant in the garden. So that was the starting point. And then I sort of cultivated the garden over the years. But this area here that we're walking into now was always just left. I'll come around this way because the sun's over there and you'll not be able to see. So all along here we've got beautiful big tall lilac trees which obviously cast their own shadow. Then we have this gorgeous cherry tree which again when the leaf canopy's out casts a shadow. And then up there, right up there, there was a huge London plane tree which we had taken down in December. So it'll be interesting this year to see how much sunshine gets through to this part of the garden. All last year I worked with my husband towards erecting this greenhouse, and we finally got that built. I think it was November last year. So where the greenhouse stands now, that was just full of plants. So I dug out every plant from that area before we put the foundations for the greenhouse down, potted them up, and they've been on the drive all winter. And that's what I'm going to be replanting now. The front of the border there, I've always maintained. It's always been, I've considered it part of my garden. But this area here that we're standing in now, because it was so shady, I always just thought of it as like an overspill area. So any plants that I was splitting and I didn't know where to put them, I would put them in this part of the garden. And it wasn't until last November when I put the greenhouse up and then I'm looking into this part of the garden, I thought, right, all it needs is a path through for me to think of it as part of my garden. And so I worked away for a day and a half yesterday and the day before, cleared this area out here, which goes all the way around here, past my compost bins, past my new pole frames. Built that little path so I can come through here and go into my pole frames there. I'm going to get some tree bark delivered, and I'm going to bark this whole area, but now it's the exciting part and I can just start planting this out. So it's still very much a woodlandy garden, and the plants that are in, so I've got lots of these New Zealand satin flowers which are fabulous. I've got oxeye daisy. This is a fantastic helenium which is about 6 foot tall. I've got lots of Japanese anemone. They're a beautiful pink, bit invasive, but I just keep pulling out the ones I don't want. He is a beautiful rose that I transplanted last year. I don't know whether he's staying or whether I'm going to plant lupins there. I've got iris, more oxeye daisy. I've got a beautiful aster here, linaria, lots of patches of aquilegia, and obviously these plants have been here for years. and this has been totally overgrown because I didn't have a path. So it was a real ordeal to come in, and you could never find a pathway through to sort of keep on top of the weeds. These are geraniums they're very early flowering wild geraniums with a lovely pale pink flower. Great early source of nectar for the pollinators. And then over here, these are some of the plants that I dug out yesterday. So I've got some bulbs there, again, not sure what they are. I've got aqualesia in there. I've got lots of self-seeded New Zealand satinflower. Bluebells, big areas where, you know, I can sort of clear all this out and plant that up with foxgloves. And then just before I finished last night, I replanted. I found this beautiful hellebore. So he's beautiful. I've transplanted him along with some tulips there, I think. That is excavated soil. I think these are alliums. And then I planted a lot of little self-seeded hellebores there, put them back into the soil. Right, so I'll take you down here and I'll show you the plants that, well, most of them have been dug out of the area where the greenhouse is now. And like I said, they've just been sheltering behind my husband's car. So I've got London Pride there. That's very low growing. I think I've got 2 pots of that. So I'll put that along the path. I've got these, which I recognise that leaf. So they are primroses, I think. This is definitely a hellebore. And it's got lots of new growth there. Another primula. I planted lots of foxglove last year, and I planted a lot of them out, but the ones that got left have just been left in tubs there. So I've got lots of foxgloves to plant out. They'll like that area. I've got some leftover wallflowers. I'll get them in. Nice aqualesia there. And then I've been planting I grew some lupins from seed, and I planted them in the soil from the back garden because I was doing some work there. So wouldn't you know, up have come some more very healthy foxgloves. So again, I'll put a link to my lupin video. So I'm growing them en masse to try and sort of get them to survive the slug invasion that is surely going to come. And I wouldn't be putting them out normally this early. So I'm filming this, what is it today? I think it's the 24th of February. But because I've got so many lupins, I'd rather have these foxgloves out and in the soil. These lupins can take their chances. And you can see how crammed in these foxgloves are. I'm going to sort of separate them out. So I'd rather have the foxgloves at the moment. Then I've got this, which is phlox. And when I did the Chelsea chop last year, I just put all the cuttings off the top of the phlox in pots, and it's all taken. So I've got a few tubs of that. I've got a tub here with some, I think they're tulips, and I think that's daff. But then I've got a beautiful hellebore in there as well. So I think I'll just take the whole lot of plants out of that bucket and plant it in one lump in the garden around there. More pots with more little foxgloves. And you know, once these get their roots down into my garden soil, I'm sure they're just going to take off. Right, so that's what today's video is going to be about. It's just, I'm going to set it to some music and I'm just going to plant away. Right, so in this area here, which is underneath the hedge here and underneath the lilac trees and all the way along there, and there's I don't know whether you can see, but through there is a tall brick wall. So I know that this is east facing. Yes, I think this is going to be in deep shade all of the day. So I think these foxgloves will love it in here, and these primula will as well. So I'm going to plant this area out because obviously I've still got all that ivy and that to take out of there. I don't know whether there's a bit up here. Oh yeah, I've got a bit of room up here. I can sort of plant foxgloves here as well. And before I start, I'm going to dig out, if possible, I'm going to dig out this bit of hedging here. It's always the case, isn't it? You think, oh, I'm just going to have a nice big potter in the garden and plant some things. And then you can't because there's another task in the way. So I'm going to be very gentle around here because I don't want to disturb this hellebore that only went in last night. And then I'll trim this hedge back and get the foxgloves in there. Never trim the hedges back usually this time of year because of birds nesting, but I've lived here long enough, I know they never nest here in this hedge. Just open the area up. So in this pot I've got foxgloves, and that is a geum as well. So I think in this area here I'm going to plant this primula. The plants shouldn't take any acclimatizing to this part of the garden because they've been outside all winter, and when I dug them up I used the soil from this part of the garden, so they don't even have to get used to new soil. Oh yeah. At the time when I was digging them up, I was like, oh, if it's going to take forever, but it's so worth it because, you know, these would have probably all gone in the compost bin, and they'll be beautiful. I'll be doing some garden tours later on when it's a bit more colourful, and you'll see how well these do. And you'll notice I'm sort of working into the garden. I haven't sort of got all the weeds out and cleared it all straight away because A, I want to keep motivated, but B, I just want to get these plants in. The sooner they're in the garden soil now, the sooner they'll become established and flower. And what I like to try and do is completely finish a little job, so that no matter what happens, if I get called away, or I can walk away from that part of the garden knowing that it's done. So I'll just plant these bulbs in here. Again, I have no idea what they are, but they'll be lovely. And they're trying to survive. So your plants want to grow, don't they? Right, that's that done. Right, now in this area here, I mean, you can see it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon here, and it's very, very shady. So these are the new baby hellebores that I planted. This is a weed. This is a creeping buttercup here. Get him out. But I think this patch here, I think that's Mombretia. there. You know, we cut some of these straggly branches off the bottom so we get as much light as possible to these plants. Right, I'm going to put another primula down there. So it's actually quite nice developing a garden that's got a lot of plants in already. You don't have to always, take the slash and burn approach. Particularly if you've moved into a new house and it's got an established garden and you have no idea what's in it. I've said this before, it's always best to give it the first year and see what comes up, and then you can decide, do I like it? If you do, keep it. You might want to move it to a different area of the garden, but plants are so expensive. So it's great if you've got a garden full already. You can add to it, put your own stamp on, so that's great. Right, moving on. What else have we got? Right, so in this area here, I've got a well-established bit of Aquilegia, and then down here I've got a piece of Geum. Now he looks like a very tall one because that's the old stem of him. So I can put that stem down now. But in this area here, there isn't much. So I think what I'll do is I'll put this foxglove here, and then he'll grow up through this Weigelia here. So I'll just see if I can. I've got a whole pot full of little foxgloves there with nice root systems on them. Take that moss off the top. Take the weeds out. I don't know whether to just pop him in as is or whether to try and split up these foxgloves. You know, I'm going to try and split them up, see what happens. There we go. Oh, he's come apart easily, hasn't he? Brilliant. So I've got 2 foxgloves there. Right. One in here. I'm going to put the other one here because the earth's so nice and loose. Doesn't want to be buried too deep. And I'll be coming along shortly and watering all these in. Right, where am I going to put this lump of Aquilegia? And I'm hoping that this Aquilegia is the very pale pink one, because then it will really show up from the house. Yeah, there's a big clump of loose strife in there. I'll get rid of that. I think I'll leave the loose strife there because he's going to be yellow. This out the way, see what I've got here. You see, I've got lots of Venaria, but I'm not bothered about that. I've got loads of that. Right, I've tried digging in this area. Well, you can see some loose strife, but not loads. This in. Oh, I know what I've got. I've got a bucket of compost. This is nice soil. Put that round him. Right, there we go. Right, so I think in this area I'm going to plant this whole bucket of tulips and hellebore. So I've got some daffs that are already in. Take him out the way, we don't want him there. Now what is that? That is oxeye daisy. Oh well, he might work. Anywho, I'm going to put the hellebore here. I don't know what the soil's going to be like here because obviously it's got the hedge growing, but it looks nice and rich. I thought it might have been full of roots and compacted, but obviously nothing's been planted in this area for decades. Right, shouldn't really be using a shovel with my wellies on it. I should have my gardening boots on, but I can't be bothered to go back in the house and get them. I didn't intend to be digging like this. I thought I would be very sedate and planting a few primula. This wood here, I used to have that as a sort of just something to stand on when I was sort of planting things over the years. But I do quite like bits of old wood around the garden. It gives somewhere for the bugs to live. Right, there are some big roots in there, but it's not too congested. Let's see if this bucket fits in. Does it? Yeah, I think that'll work. Oh, he came out easy. Right, I don't want to crush the leaves, so I'll just gently tip him like that. Wow. Some weeds there. So yeah, look at him. Lovely. And just sort of tease those roots out a little bit. Encourage them to grow outwards. See if he fits in. Yes, he fits in beautifully. So I'll put some of that lovely compost I've got in. This is my homemade compost. I don't know whether it's in shot. Lovely and crumbly, mixed with garden soil. So I'll put a bit in the bottom there for him. Put hellebore flower so he's pointing to the path. Is he a bit proud now? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to dig the hole a little bit deeper. Right, it's just going to be a hedge root here. Can't even see it. I'm just going to chop. There we go. Chop it there. These loppers are brilliant. Yesterday, this was just a massive ivy and old bits of wood. Right, I think that'll do. Some compost in the bottom. That's it. That's better. And then we'll fill him up with nice compost. Around there. Lovely. Right, I've got bulbs here, so I'll plant them round it. Get them in. I plant them nice and deep because they've been disturbed. They're going to need a bit extra support. And they've got every chance of flowering a bulb if you dig one up by accident, because all the food that the bulb needs to flower is in the bulb itself. It's, as long as you don't chop its roots off. Right, I'm going to put a foxglove in here. So like I say, I've got these foxgloves and I have got a lupin in, and lupins I don't think go very well in the shade, but they might surprise us and do well, but it's more the foxglove I want. But it's pointless tearing the roots of the lupin or the foxglove just to get rid of the lupin, because the hellebores and the tulips obviously will just disappear underground after the late spring. So you have to replace them with something. That's it. And then maybe another one here. Right, so now I've got 2 pots of hellebores. So what I'm thinking is this is the path into my cold frame. So if I can have these lovely hellebores here so that I can see them, maybe one there and one there. I don't know what the roots of the rhododendron are going to be like, whether they're going to be too deep, but we shall see. Yeah, I think that's not going to work there. I think I need things with a more shallow root there. So in that case, I'll bring the camera over here because, and remember that there, that tile is over the top of the earth where I dug one of the hellebores out. So I'm just going to pop him back where he was, and then when I'm in my cold frame here, I'll see him. Take that up. Oh yeah, that's nice and soft and crumbly. May as well have all these beautiful plants where I can see them, because they're out for such a short time. So what I'm thinking up here, I've got some little wallflowers, because I think this will get a lot of sun, this area, now that the tree's gone. And maybe some foxgloves. I don't want to overcrowd the area because obviously it has to be very functional. I have to get to my cold frame. You know what? I'm going to plant more on the corner. I'm going to plant here and here, like each side, so it's a bit symmetrical. I have a little clump of wallflowers in each corner, because I think maybe some more London Pride or something would be best around here, quite low growing. So again, I grew these from seed last year. Right, so you do need to pack the wallflowers out a bit to get a display. This little wallflower has a lovely foxglove attached, so they'll grow together, both cottage garden plants, and they'll grow quite happily together there and have a nice display underneath this rhododendron. I think down here I'm going to plant some more London Pride. So I'll put that in here because this will stay low growing and it'll sort of creep in amongst all these sort of jaggedy bits of earth. So that look lovely with foxgloves there and the hellebore, and then this Linaria here, then the London Pride, and then the wallflowers. And then I think that'll do for today. I'm just going to give everything a nice water in, and I'm just going to plant a few plants every time I have an opportunity to come out in the garden. I don't know how many plants I've planted today. Oh, he's a lovely fat worm, isn't he? There we go. Dig your hole a bit deeper. That's it. I think they're quite shallow rooted London Pride. There we go. And put the worm in so he doesn't get too traumatized by the experience. There we go. And he will just creep along here and fill this area out. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if it's the first time you've visited my garden, I'd love you to come back and have a look and see how this woodland area develops over the course of the year. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.